Hi, I'm Ginny Robertson, founder of the On Purpose Woman Global Community and founder and publisher of On Purpose Woman magazine. Welcome to Connections on Purpose. Whether you're here with us live on Zoom, joining us on Facebook, or watching later on YouTube, I'm glad you're here. Connections on Purpose is where women come together to have meaningful conversations, make genuine connections, and be seen and heard. It's a place to listen, learn, share, and sometimes discover something new about ourselves and each other. If any of this speaks to you, I'd love to have you join us for one of our Connections on Purpose Zoom gatherings and experience the community for yourself. The link for more info is in the text of this video. So wherever you're joining us from, I invite you to settle in, be present, and see where this conversation opens up for you today. How often have you waited for someone else to give you permission? Permission to change your mind, to say no, to say yes, to slow down, to speak up, to let something go, or maybe simply to be more fully who you are. And sometimes we realize that no one is actually holding us back. We're the ones who haven't given ourselves permission. So today we're exploring permission granted. What have you finally given yourself permission to do? I'm excited to have three members of the On Purpose Woman Global Community with me today: Andrea Hylen, Ellen Koronet, and Judy Micale. They'll share some of their personal stories and the wisdom they've gained along the way, what they've given themselves permission to do, what held them back, and what changed when they finally stopped waiting for permission and gave it to themselves. And as you listen, whether you're here with us live or watching later, I invite you to think about your life. What have you been waiting to give yourself permission to do? So welcome, Andrea, Ellen, and Judy. So glad you're here with us. Okay, I want to start. You were 5-minute featured members before we started this recording, but I'd like for each of you to just take a moment and tell us a little bit about yourself so those watching the recording will know something about you. And I'm going to start with you, Andrea.
Thanks, Ginny, and happy to be here. My name is Andrea Hylen. I am the founder of Heal My Voice and The Incubator, an online co-working space for women creatives where I support women with creativity and writing. And my latest book is called Follow the Clues, Living Your Life as a Grand Experiment with Curiosity, Courage, and Creativity. My website is andreahylen.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Ellen.
Hi, I'm Ellen Koronet. My company is called LNK Creative. I'm a marketing research firm gone a little wild, and I bring together the kinds of deep questions that you want to ask people you've never met, and you can send them out and get them back automated and have conversations going forward. I've been zapping into untapped markets by gamifying craveable conversations, and I love big words. And you can find me at lnkcreative.com.
Thank you, Ellen. And Judy, tell us about you.
My name is Judy Micale. I am a certified coach and I work with executives in mainly, and my tagline for my company is communication plus compassion equals change for today's world and workforce. So I really work with individuals around what is compassionate leadership, what does it look like in today's world versus the industrial uh, leadership that we grew up on. Most of us grew up on that. And there's a total shift and mentality that's going on in the work world today. So that is one piece of my world. The other piece of my world is I actually work with individuals who might be on that brink of compassion fatigue, burnout. And I'm a certified trainer in that area, an educator around it, and I've been doing it for over 18 years now. So that is another piece of mine. And so I also offer group coaching around that as well. My company and website is judymccauley.com. So it's very easy to find me, and I just truly love working with individuals.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you, all three. And that information with website information will be in the text of this video. So, Ellen, I'm going to start with you for the first question. What's one thing you've given yourself permission to do? And I just want to say real quick, I'm using the word do generically because sometimes it's be and sometimes it's have. It's all that. So, what's the thing?
So, Ginny, you gave us a chance to think about this ahead of time, and I realized that back in 2016, I went through cancer surgery and also a severe shoulder break shortly after that. So I went through this upheaval, like I can't be here the way I normally have been. And the biggest thing that came out of it is I started consciously giving myself permission to excuse myself from my loved ones' rabbit holes. Like I used to just jump right in there, right? And now I go around the edge and kind of playing out here, going, you know what? I don't have time for this. And it's not going to help everybody when I just jump in without thinking first. So that's the biggest thing I think I've given myself permission.
I love that. I'm sure there are women watching this who can relate to that, getting sucked kind of into that. What was holding you back, do you think? Why hadn't you done that before the cancer and the break?
Um, So it's when I stop believing that I have an impact that I can't see right in front of me. So I do something and I don't get a response right away, and I think, well, that didn't work. But it's really magic. And the magic that I used to understand really well when I was 8 years old was like, I'm going to go dance in the rain. I don't even care. I can do whatever I want, right? Within reason. But I never stopped to think about what those boundaries were when I was little. And I think what's held me back is I started trying to give everybody else permission. I'd be like, you can go do that. You can go do that. And I stopped realizing that by doing the things that I was inspired to do, there would be a ripple effect that I couldn't necessarily see. So you stop believing in it when you don't see it right away.
Yeah. Oh, that's so important. Thank you so much for that. Okay, Judy, what's one thing you've given yourself permission to do?
So this is the phrase that I put out to the world at this point, and it's stop shoulding on yourself. We're always saying, I should do this, I need to do this, I should be doing this. So I used that with a few of my individuals that I was working with at one point. I was like, stop shoulding on yourself. And the reality of it was I gave myself that permission finally. In the last year and a half, I just said, oh, no, I don't have to. I shouldn't have to should on myself.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
We
it.
teach, what's that other saying? We teach that which we most need to learn sometimes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on coming to that realization yourself. And what do you think was holding you back with that?
I'm second generation on both sides of my family. So I was raised to, we are workers. We are workers from the minute you were like, I remember working, helping out, and my dad owned a bar restaurant. So I was automatically behind the things making pepperoni and pizzas and everything by the time I was like 5 years old. I was out there
Mm.
helping in the kitchen and stuff. So it was that mentality that I grew up with, that you work hard, you get somewhere in this world. And that was what was holding me back, was that continued story, until I recognized it when I started doing some journaling exercises for myself. And I started seeing a common theme. And that was truly, it was my own story that was holding me back.
Thank you. And I want to ask everyone who's here with us on Zoom, if you relate to any of this, put your story in the chat, put something in the chat, and just let the panel know that, yeah, I'm here with you on that because I've experienced that some myself. Andrea, how about you?
Yeah, and I relate to everything so far. Thank you. The words that I came up with are time to wander. I've given myself permission to pause, listen, daydream, and follow the clues from my intuition and from messages from the universe. Sometimes wandering is busy. I'm like reading 10 books at a time. I'm learning a new skill. I'm walking in nature. I'm waking up at 3 a.m. to write. I'm going down a rabbit hole to research something. I'm binge watching a TV series on Netflix, or I'm going to the local movie theater. But sometimes wandering involves meditating, naps, silence, staring out the window at the wind blowing the leaves of a tree, or talking to the fairies and devas. I was just doing that this morning. I brought them a rock. Wandering to me is a time to reconnect with my inner world and my desires. Yeah.
Why had you not given yourself permission to wander before, whenever you started giving yourself permission? What was
Yeah,
going on?
I know. And I think the word that was coming to me was the holding back. Like what holds me back is
Mhm.
overscheduling my time or not honoring the white space in my calendar. You could call this overgiving, overdoing, or overcaring. Like valuing someone else's needs and priorities more than my own. Living in a culture, as we're talking about here, that values doing more than being, that values productivity over daydreaming, oh, your head's up in the clouds. Not paying attention to the inner voice that is showing me that it is time to shift gears, listen, and reset. And I want to use an example. I've been living in different places for 12 years. I live a house-free lifestyle. Sometimes I'm alone, and sometimes I'm in very busy, active households. I have different seasons of work with structure and flow and tuning into my own voice. And one thing is that I am a creator. I am driven by a strong desire to like learn and seek and create. And if you know human design, I am a manifesting generator with a 1-3 profile, which means I am an overflowing cup of ideas. I'm eager to create, experiment, and experience both failures and successes. And I have a lot of energy. So, by giving myself permission to just wander and do what I want to do, what lights me up, rather than what I think I should be doing, the should, there we go, I can tap into innovation and creativity. And one final point I wanted, this is kind of the biggest growth probably with this, is I used to overschedule myself with social group and spiritual activities. And maybe it was the pandemic, but I have become much more conscious about the importance of alone time that is unstructured, where I can be empty, follow ideas that rise up, and follow the beat of my own drum. Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that for sure. So, okay, Judy, we're going to shift gears a little bit. So you had this thing, you did this thing, you gave yourself permission. How's your life been different since then?
I would say I'm learning how to practice what I've been working with everybody else to practice on. I
Mm.
now stop, pause, breathe, and receive. I allow myself and give myself permission to have compassion for my own needs first. It's not a selfish thing. It's actually a survival of the fittest at this point when I think about it in that way, and also permission to play more.
Mm.
You are inspiring me so much too. So,
Yeah.
Ellen, I think you're, no, Andrea, I think you're up next. Yes. I'm
Oh.
going to move these around a little bit.
I want to highlight first that giving myself permission to wander is something I began to learn in my late 40s, which is over 20 years ago. But every year, every decade, I get better at it. And I learn more about what I need and when it's missing. I learned that my presence has as much value as the things I do. I've learned that how spending time by myself helps me understand how I'm wired and why a yes or a no is valid for me. I keep learning the importance of being empty. And just as Judy was saying, like pausing to feel and listen, learning that as much as I love being with people, I need a lot of alone time to recharge, to feel, to play, to wonder about things, like just to be in the space. And learning that I don't have to get sick anymore to take that time. Or if I am sick, to pull into rest and lighten my schedule, like listening to my body. There was a time when I took on so much for other people that I even tried to do their personal growth work for them, like attending 12-step meetings for people when I actually didn't need that particular 12-step meeting. I mean, anyway, I began to learn that in my 30s, like it doesn't work. I can hold space for people, but I cannot do it for them. And so I've learned that when I create space to wander, I'm opening myself to being an observer and a witness to the world around me. And that helps me understand things and have compassion. And I'll just share a quick story that I watched my 3-year-old grandson, Seamus, for 8 hours the other day, and I'm not normally his all-day person. I got to see a different time of him, a different side of him when it was just the two of us, and there was no rush to go anywhere or do anything. This wild man, Tarzan in the jungle, was so calm and slow and just sat still and then would reach over with a little kiss on my cheek. So precious. Like I got to see this other side of him, but just being totally present with him and wandering in the house, following where he wanted to go, what he wanted to do. Yeah.
What a great reminder for all of us. We can learn so much from children that age. We really can. Thank you. Ellen, how's your life been different since that moment of knowing?
So, I'm in my mid 60s now, and I'm redoing my business in a new way. And so part of what I'm giving myself permission as I think about that, magic, like not expecting to see the results right away, even though I'm feeling really anxious right now and I want it right now, is that idea that if you take a sort of inspired step or play or have fun or whatever, you will be caught somehow on the other side. Like you'll be, it's safe to keep trying. And the story I have about that is when I was 4 years old, I had a friend named Evie who was 3 years old, and this was in 1964. So we had no seat belts. We had, sitting in the front seat of my mom's car. She ran into the bank. She left her little Ford sedan sitting in the parking lot of the bank. And my friend Evie moved over into the driver's seat and started playing with the levers. And I said, "Are you sure that's okay?" She said, "Oh, I see my mother do this all the time." So she moved it into neutral, apparently, and we rolled into a little truck that would, some kind of truck that was sitting there. So a bunch of people ran into the bank and brought my mother out saying, it's okay. They're okay or whatever. And she didn't know what she was going to find. And so I think the whole thing was actually perfectly fine. We were okay, it just sort of rolled into, another bumper or something. And those were stronger bumpers back then. So the idea is, you don't have to know what's going to happen on the other side of it, and it's okay to play. And and maybe we're better about maybe we have too many barriers around us, so it's a sort of a pick and choose which ones you honor, I guess.
I love the story. Ellen, the reaction from your mom and from the other people, were they panicked? Was it like, oh, you shouldn't have done that? Or how did that go down? Because that could have certainly set you up for being super cautious about everything
Well,
after that.
this friend always got me into trouble, and we always got out of it okay. So I think the biggest lesson I always got from it was it's okay to be, a little bold and, push the
Yeah.
boundaries. It just, like I don't remember getting in trouble for that. I remember getting in trouble for coloring my mother's handmade, the windows on her handmade dollhouse. Evie did that too. She colored them black. I don't know why. And so I got in trouble for that, but but no, most of the time it was good, and we're still friends, and it's been lovely to reconnect with her and to see that
Oh,
her life turned out good too. So no, it didn't traumatize me. I think it was good.
good. Yeah, because it sounds like she was a very inspirational little girl and somebody that I needed somebody that like that in my life too because I was so good. I followed all the rules. I always needed that friend who was going to like pull me out of it a little bit and get me into some trouble. So, you guys are staying on time so well that we've got a little bit more time than I thought we would have. I don't want to go to that last final thought. I want to open this up to the three of you to anything you're feeling just called to say right now about this topic, whether it's another story or just some learning, just anything. And I'm hoping some of you will have something to say.
I have a thought. I have a thought. We hear a lot about ADHD right now. Like everybody's neurodivergent, all these. And my feeling is women especially are, I've never met one who really would be called neurotypical. And I think it's because we've been trained to pay attention, to follow the interesting thoughts, to do the wandering and the, unshooting on yourself and all of that. And I think some more than others, follow all the threads. But each of us has I want to look at this, the curiosity. And I think we just need to trust that. And when we don't trust it, we end up hiding. And when we hide, it doesn't do anybody any good.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Anybody relate to that? With two hands, I say yes. Amen.
Yeah, I mean, uh, I don't know that this is about granting permission, or maybe it's just anytime we share something that's vulnerable or real, we're giving each other permission to be in that space. But the whole ADD thing, I feel like it is that we're coming into our own, and part of it is having systems or ways to actually function in the world that still exists, even though there's a lot of things that are changing. So, for instance, I do fit all the patterns of ADD. I mean, come on, listen to me wander. I'm all over the place. And that's the way my creative brain works. But I've also learned certain words that have helped me understand where I need a system there are things with deadlines, I'm in a house right now where my daughter and son-in-law have jobs outside of the home and they're supposed to be at work at a certain time. And I have this thing, I heard somebody call it time blindness. And I was like, I know, I can get lost. I can go down those rabbit holes. And so part of it is learning or I've learned over decades how to have systems that give me structure, but also lots of room for flow. And that's having that kind of permission also, is that I can create structures that support me, like timers to let me know to come to an on-purpose woman meeting at a certain time, instead of being like, I'm lost in this book and I don't want to put it down, which I will pick the book up when the meeting's over. But yeah, so I appreciate the conversation, and Ellen, you opening up the door to that. Different ways of being in the world.
So for me, work with a lot of type A personalities, and one of the things that I've built in is a challenge for them to take the time to do a reflection. Whether
Mm.
it's 2 minutes at the beginning of the day, where what are the three things that I need to complete by the end of the day to feel successful? And it could be as simple as getting an email off your plate. And at the end of the week, when you go onto my LinkedIn site, you see every Friday I post the same three questions. What did you do well? What did you learn? And what are you carrying forward? And we always carry something forward. I'm a three person. For some reason, I always carry three things forward into the next week. They're usually three things I didn't want to do. I call them my frogs. So I take a frog on Monday, I take a frog on Tuesday, and I take a frog on Wednesday, but I get to do the things I like afterwards. So using that reflection and building that in, that's giving ourselves permission as well. And I think that's a huge one that's so important in today's world, because we're always putting fires out and we forget to take that moment to reflect.
Mhm.
And I think what all three of you are actually pointing out is that you mentioned the industrialized time that most of us grew up in, that was only one set of permission slips. There was only one um, system that we were supposed to follow. We didn't have the creativity to decide what works for me, because if I decided something works for me in a school classroom, nobody's going to listen to me on that one, right? But we have a lot more freedom, especially as grown-ups. We have complete freedom now to choose our systems and to choose things that work just for us and to function out there in the world. So I really appreciate where you took this discussion, Ellen. Thank you for that. Let's go ahead and wrap this up so we have some time for questions and answers. I'd love to hear a final thought from each of you. I'm going to start with you, Andrea.
What I want to say is there's a magical, mysterious world within and around you that you can learn from and that can deepen your understanding of your purpose for being alive. Letting go of trying to control and plan for everything. I think we've talked about that in a number of ways. It's like surrender to a deeper sense of inner knowing. You may feel uncertain or impatient to make something happen. You may feel like you have to keep all the plates spinning. You may feel incredibly busy taking care of others, work, and life. But there is a world you have access to in a 1 minute pause, a moment where you close your eyes, you take a breath, connect with yourself, or even pause to look outside and notice the tree, something in nature, or appreciate something simple in your life. That is something that returns you to you, and know that you have value because you exist. You are enough. And I'm going to leave it with that. So create space to wonder and wander and follow the clues. Yeah.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you. Hey, Ellen.
I'm gonna add another permission in here because I work for myself in my basement. I have lots of time. I can structure my time however I want. And when the projects are not right in front of me, I get lost often with like, what am I supposed to do next? I need that supposed to, I need the structure. I kind of miss that. And so what happens is sometimes I have certain shows I love to watch. I get caught up in playing certain games. There's one I just discovered where you get to smash things, and I absolutely love it. It's sort of an obsession now. I got to do that every day. And so the permission is to let the unstructured moments where it's not clear what you want to or need to, what you're compelled to do, to allow those to take a new shape. And that's where I think Andrea's advice to pause, it's complicated because I pause too long. I pause too much. I'm sitting there and I'm like, now I don't want to do anything, right? So allowing the magic to begin to sprout. It's like when you plant that little seed and then you're looking at it every day going, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Come on. I watered it. I gave it food. I did it. It's got light. Maybe I need to move it over here. So that kind of pause is more complicated and more difficult to manage. And it's the trust. I think it's just trusting that when you're inspired to do something that moves you in a good direction, that the impact will show up. Yeah, and not expecting it right away, which is kind of what I said at the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for wrapping that all up together. Yes. And Judy, you actually get the final word. So what do you have to say?
So I'm going to wrap it up all in a nice little package. What I'm hearing is this: granting ourselves grace, giving ourselves permission to have that reflection, that moment to pause, but understanding that as we've planted the seeds, we may not see the results immediately, but the roots are growing. So grant yourself that grace to know and understand that it is happening. It'll happen in the time that it's supposed to. Doors open and close for a reason, and it's all good.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Ginny,
Um,
Mary Jane wrote a really wonderful thing here in the chat. Can we read that?
yeah, go ahead. You want to read it?
Yeah, it's based on what we've all been saying. She says letting go of control is an ongoing process, and she's noticing how when she's able to do it, things flow easier. It doesn't mean she doesn't have a plan. It's just that she allows the universe to fill in something she may not have thought of, which is exactly what we've been trying to say. Thank you so much.
I love that. Thank you for that, Mary Jane. Well, before we wrap up, I'd like those of you here with me on Zoom to show our panel some love. So unmute yourselves and let's give them some applause, some yays, some however you want to do that. Come on, unmute yourselves and let's hear from you. I'm going to start it by doing this. Thank you all. Thank you all so much.
Thank you,
Thank
thank you, thank you,
you.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
You are amazing.
All for participating. You're all amazing. Yeah, I heard that. Thank you. And I just want to thank you personally, myself, Andrea, Ellen, and Judy, for sharing your time, your wisdom, and yourself with us today. Who knows what the impact might be from the words that you've spoken. And thank you to everyone who's watching us live here on Zoom, on Facebook, or later on YouTube. I hope something you've heard today stays with you, sparks a new thought, or inspires you to take something from this conversation into your own life. And remember, you don't have to just watch from the sidelines. If you'd like to experience connections on purpose for yourself, I'd love to welcome you to one of our Zoom or in-person gatherings. You can also explore On Purpose Woman magazine and learn more about the On Purpose Woman global community at opwgc.com, and that link is also in the text of this video. Until next time, stay curious, stay open, stay connected, and live your life on purpose. Thanks for watching, y'all.